morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible to you. A quick yes no will help. Am I audible to you and my screen visible to you? Yeah, great. So I hope you have done your STs well. Okay, all the STs, you have done it well. And last time we had continued with our collections. Okay. So let me tell you one thing that if you look at the class notes, let me share my document with you. Okay, on your class notes, already the documents have been uploaded. Okay, the document which I'm going to cover on collection, on the linked list and the stack, everything is shared. The document which I'm going to teach you today as well as tomorrow is already shared. Okay, so that you have to just concentrate on this particular lecture. So point number one, let's continue with our collections. So we have already discussed the collection. We have seen the array list example. The third example we had discussed, and that third example was basically displaying the contents of that array list as well as removing the element from the array list. So this was the contents till which we had discussed in the previous class. That was java.language.iterable and java.util.iterable. Okay. Now assume that you have a collection and you want to display the contents of the array list. So the quickest way to do is we use something called as a for each loop. Okay, you take a array list, you see the contents, it is basically taking the string as a parameter, hence you declare a variable of the type string and then you are displaying the contents over here, which we have already seen. So if you look over here, this is an example of a for each. If you take the next example into consideration, I'm using a concept called as iterator. I'm using the concept called as iterator. Okay. Now, how does an iterator work? How does an iterator works? You declare a reference variable of the type iterator, okay, and then make it point to the concrete instance of a collection. Now, which is a concrete instance of a collection? We have something called as an array list. We have got something called as an array list. So what you do is on the left hand side, you declare a reference of the type iterator and attach it to the array list by saying al.iterator. al.iterator. So now what we can do is we can apply the methods which are available in that iterator, such as has, next, next and remove. If you look over here, we have got this method has, next, next and the remove. So what I'm doing over here is I'm using the iterator itr based on the array list to use a has next property to display the contents of it. To display the contents of it. Quickly execute this code. We'll wait for a minute. Done. Now, if you look over here, let's try to do it on the student, class student. So now what I had done, I declared an iterator which was pointing to the array list. Okay. Now, if you look over here, what till now what we had done is we had declared an array list or list something like this, which is handling the integer, character, long, double or a string. What if we want to work with the user defined classes? So we have a class called as student having roll number, name and age. We have a constructor over here. We have a constructor over here. So what I do over here, I create three objects S1, S2 and S3. S1, S2, S3 are the objects of the class student. I'm passing three parameters over here. 101, 102, 103 is the roll number. Okay, A, B, C are the name and 23, 21, 25 are the age. So what I do over here is I populate the data of this class student with this data. Now once I have done it, if you look over here in the previous example, I created an array list which was generic type of the type string. So here I create an array list of the generic type student. That means now what is happening? This AL is an array list which is going to take an object of a string class. Okay. Now what I can do, I can use the ArrayList add method to add the contents of S1, S2 and S3 on the array list. On the array list. Now once you are done it, if you look at the previous example of the iterator, what I told you, you kindly declare a iterator reference variable over here. In this case, it is pointed to a student. Okay, and then point it to an object of a collection. In this case, it is AL by using an iterator method. And then what we have the hasNext method and the next method, which will allow us to pick up the data for the each and every record over here. Clear? So what I do over here, I display the roll number, name and stage. That hasNext will check whether the next record is there. Okay, if it has, then pick up the next record, store it in ST and then display roll number, name and age. Kindly execute the code. Kindly execute the code. We'll give you a minute and then I will tell you what you're supposed to do. Take a minute to execute this code. Okay. So I hope you have executed it. Now what I want to tell you. Now what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to declare a class called as result. Okay. What it is going to have? It is going to have roll number. It is going to have name and it is going to have CGPA. Okay. It is going to have a CGPA. Add 5 records. Add 5 records. Okay. For that, use a constructor. Use a constructor. Okay. Then what you're supposed to do? Create an array list. Create an array list and display the contents using iterator. Using iterator. Explain it again. Kindly declare a class called as result having the data members roll number, name and CGPA. It is up to you what you have to declare the data type as. If I want, I would have gone with roll number as string, name as string and CGPA as a double or a float. Okay, then what you do, add 5 records to it using a constructor, initialize them and then use the array list and display the contents. Use the array list and display the contents. Use the iterator method to display the contents. You have been given, you only have to change around 5 to 6 lines, so kindly do it. I'll give you 3 to 4 minutes for this. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to create a class result having data members, roll number, name and CGPA. Use a constructor to add 5 records in the result. Okay. In the main, kindly create an array list of the class result. Use the iterator method to display the contents of this particular class. If the solution is over, you can kindly paste it. It's the same like the previous one. Instead of the class student over here, it will be the result. Okay, what is the change over here? Instead of age, it will be the CGPA. You have to use the same constructor, initialize it, use the array list and display the contents. I hope you must have completed it. Okay. In case not, kindly complete it as fast as possible. Next example, I have created an array list of the type string. It has got 3 records. I have created another array list of the type string. I have got further 3 records. Okay. I say array list dot add all A2. So what is happening in this particular array list? I'm adding the contents of AL2 using a method called as add all. Using a method called as add all. Okay. Now what I do, I declare an iterator, associate it with the AL and then use a has next method to display the contents of it. Quickly run it. I guess I pasted the wrong solution. Kindly run the code quickly.
Spread milk, pasta, eggs.
Okay, so you must have practiced it. This document is already uploaded. Okay, so do not take any notes. Just listen to the lecture. As we have seen the iterator that it has got a has next, next and remove, and it has got something called as a for each loop. There is something called as a list iterator over here, which is extending the iterator. Okay, so what we normally do it, we normally use the list iterator to reverse it in the reverse order. That means if you want to reverse from back to front, then we use something called as a has previous and previous. These two particular methods we use to iterate this particular list. To illustrate this concept, okay, if you look over here, either you can say import java.util.star, or you can use individually array list, iterator, list and list iterator. This is the preferred way of doing it. Okay, so what I do is I create a array list over here. Okay, these are the band names. These are the band names I have added. Then what I do is I create an iterator of the type string which is pointing to this particular list and use a has next to display the contents of it. We have already seen how to do it. Now, what is interesting is this program illustrates how to use a list iterator. In this case, what I do, I declare a reference of the type list iterator, which is pointing to string. Okay. In this particular list iterator, I capture it by saying L dot list iterator because L is an object of the array list over here. I add something called as a L dot size. Then I use something called as a has previous and the previous. Has previous will check whether it has a previous record. Okay. And the previous will capture the previous record, put it in P and display it. If you want directly, you can say SOP k dot previous. Okay. So this was the main part over here. How to use a has previous over here. In case you want to display the contents using a for each loop, then the much simpler way is displaying the contents. And if you want to display it using an index, which we hardly do, but you should know that we can do it, then we use something called as a get method, the predefined get method. And here we use something called as a I. Okay, so this program is mainly illustrating how to use a list iterator. So let me copy this. Take 2 or 3 minutes to execute this particular code. Okay, so we must have executed the list iterator. Now, once an elements have been added, for example, integers have been added to the array list, okay, can we apply certain conditions to it? Yes, we could do that. For example, we had declared a numbers as an array list, and in that particular numbers, what we have done, we have added 30, we have added the integers 13, 18, 25 and 40. Now what I want to do is I want to display all the odd numbers, all the odd numbers. So what I do is I know that there is something called as an iterator. So declare number iterator of the type iterator, associate it with the array list numbers. I use a has next and next. So when I use a next, I capture that particular element and then I use a condition. Then I use a condition. If number percentage 2 is not equal to 0, then we can use a remove. Then we can use a remove. So once I use a remove, then what will happen? All the elements which are odd will be removed and it will display only the even numbers. It will display only the even numbers. So this program is illustrating how to use a condition and secondly how to use a remove method. How to use a remove method. You can use a for each to iterate each and every element, but if you want to work with individual data, then use iterator. Then use iterator. For example, if you want to manipulate the elements, use iterator such as removing, adding, displaying. Okay. I got an array list called as names in which I have added the elements that are the names. Okay. And I want to check whether the particular name is there or not. Okay. So what I can do is I can use something called as a contains method, the predefined contains method, which will check whether the particular element is there or not. Okay. Now, if you want to check the index of that particular name, okay, then what I can do, I can say names index of Steve and Mark. For example, in this case, I'm checking the index of Steve, I'm checking the index of Mark. It will only give me the first occurrence. It will only give me the first occurrence. It won't give me all the occurrence. Corresponding to index of, we have got something called as a last index of. We have got something called as a last index of. Okay, so last index of will allow me to search for the last index of that particular name. For example, in this case, we have two Johns over here. So if I only use the index of, then what it is going to give me? It is going to give me the index which is 0. Okay, in this case, what will happen? It will give me the index position of the John. Now be very careful of this particular line, index of Bill. If the element is not there in the particular list, okay, check out what it is going to give. Check whether it is going to give you -1 or not. No, we cannot add all the data types in a particular array list because generic doesn't allow it. Generic doesn't allow it. Why the Java developers didn't allow this is becomes very difficult to use a loop and typecast it. Imagine you are using one integer, one character, one string, one object. Okay, how you are going to add a set up a loop in which you have to do the typecasting? You cannot. Hence, it has to be of the same type. And the pre-generics one, if you do not want to use the generics, then it will be the very old method of Java 1.4 in which everything will be treated as an object, everything will be treated as an object, and then we use it. Okay, which is not type safe, which is not type safe. It can easily crash the program, and that's why they came up with something called as a generic. If you want to work with a particular type, use that particular generic. Okay, the next example has got a class user. Okay, it has got a constructor. It has got two getters, get name and get age. It has got a setters, set name and set age. What I'm doing over here is I'm creating an array list called as users. Okay, so in that I directly use a single method called as add, in which I nest the anonymous object. I'm doing it using a single line users.add, and instead of creating an object, what I do, I create an anonymous object. I drop the object name directly. I write new user Rajiv 25. So what will happen, it will create an anonymous object. Okay, it will go to the constructor. In the constructor, name and age will be assigned to this particular name and age. Okay, so this particular line is making a call to the constructor. So once the data is initialized using a constructor, it is added using the add method of the array list. Okay, now this particular method, we call it as a lambda. We call it as a lambda. Will be taught to you in advanced Java when we learn about the reactive programming in Java. Reactive functional programming parallel streams are there in advanced Java. You will be learning this. So this particular code will be used over there. Okay, used over there to display the contents. Now, do not use this particular code. Do not use it. I have already taught you how to use a for each loop or how to use an iterator to display the contents of it. So I want you to use the knowledge of an iterator to display the contents of it. Do not use this particular code to display it, because this is called something called as a predicate, which has not been taught to you, which will come in the advanced Java. So I'm giving you part of the code, but just complete the last part of the code to display the contents using the method which I have taught you, which is the classical iterator method. Do not use this code. Instead of that, display the contents using something called as a iterator. It is 11:15. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes to add that particular code. Kindly write a code to display the contents. So let me see any answers I have got. Index of is going to check the first, is going to give me the first index. Last index is going to give me the last index of that particular element. Imagine the element A being at index 0 and index 5. So index of will give me 0, last index of will give me 5. Use a iterator, attach it to users, use a has next, you store the data in a user, and then use a get age and get name. Good. So one answers I got. I'll wait for a minute or so for the next answer. Otherwise, I'm going to continue with the next method. Okay, let's continue. So I have got an array list called as numbers, okay, in which I have added certain elements and I want to sort the data. So what I can do, I use collection.sort method to sort the contents of this particular array list. Collection.sort method to sort the contents of this particular array list. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to check the documentation and tell me how I can, just you have to change one particular line and tell me how we can display it in the reverse order. This is ascending order, I want a descending order. So you're free to use a documentation, take 2 minutes and come up with the solution. Yes. So it is collection.sort. Use the array list as a first parameter. Use collection.reverse order. Good. 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 Getting it? Okay. So 3-4 students are in a position to do it. Okay. Let's start some coding examples. Okay. Let's start some coding examples. Open the code chef. And go to the online compiler of the code chef. Open the online compiler of the code chef. Select Java as a language. Given an array ARR of size n containing integer, the task is to insert elements of a given array to an array list and return an array list. So what they are saying is, you have been given an array. First point, you have been given an array of size n containing integer. The task is to insert the elements of the given array to an array list. That means the contents of an array has to be added in an array list and you should return the array list. Okay, that means It is straightforward. If 4 is the size of an array, if 1 to 3 has been added into the array, you are supposed to return an array list with the elements 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I look at this particular code, okay, GFG stand for geek for geeks. Okay, you have to change it to the class main, or you can keep it as GFG. Do not use this. We do not require it. We use import.java.util.star, create an object of a scanner. This is for the number of test cases. What do you mean by the test cases? Something like this. Two are the test cases. 4 is the size of an array. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the contents of an array. Next is 6 elements in an array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the contents of an array. So what it should return? The moment I say 4 and I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, your function should return an array list with the element 1, 2, 3, 4. For the next case, 6 is the size of an array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the contents of an array. It should return only the array list. So I'm going to provide you the program. You are supposed to write only the function which is going to implement it. Okay, run it in the code chef. So what I do over here, declare a scanner, declare the test case. Okay, while t minus minus greater than 0. What do you mean by this? Take the test case. If it is greater than 0, do it and then decrement the value of the test case. If you're not comfortable, then what you should do, you should stick with the t and use t minus minus at the end. So we use n is equal to next integer. This is going to be nothing but the number of elements in an array. This t is nothing but this particular test case. This is the number of test case. What is this n? N is nothing but the size of an array. What is this particular line doing? It is declaring an array of the size 4 and we are accepting the data in an array, this particular part. What you are supposed to write? You are supposed to write a function, okay, or the remaining part of the code. What you are supposed to do? You are supposed to declare an array list, okay. You are supposed to declare an array list. What is the name of an array list? Answer, okay. On the right hand side, what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to write a function called as fill array list. What is this fill array list going to do? It is going to take an array and a size of an element. What that particular function should do, that particular function should return an array list with this particular elements. Once we get an array list, then what we do, we use a for each loop to display the contents of the array list. What is your job? Your job is to write this particular function. So let me give you this particular code as well as the test cases. Okay, so I've given you the code. Your job is to write the function for the fill array list. I'm going to give the test case. These are the test case. This is one test case. So for writing the function, I am going to give you 2 to 3 minutes. Kindly test the code before pasting the solution. I'll give you a minute more. Okay. What code I wanted from you was this one. Kindly declare a function called as fill array list. What are the two parameters it is going to take? It is going to take an array and the number of elements. What you are supposed to do? You are supposed to declare an array list, because what is your return type? Your return type is an array list. Okay. Are you making the function call directly? Yes. So we have to declare it as a static. So simple, declare an array list. Let's assume it is A of the type integer with n being the number of elements. Use a for loop to add the contents of an array to this array list and then return A. And then return A. So what is return A going to do? Return A is going to return the array list. Yes, it is necessary to pass the n in the array for the array list for a very simple reason. You do not know how many elements are there. You do not know how many elements are there. In case you do not pass a n, then what you will have to do? You will have to use the length property of the array list to iterate and then add it. In that case, you can skip the n. You can skip the n. Otherwise, you won't know till how many times you are supposed to use this particular loop. I hope I have answered your question. Vishal, you're not getting the point. My point is something like this. How you are going to decide this particular loop? You are supposed to add the contents of an array to an array list. So you should know how many elements are there in an array list. You can skip the size in the array list over here, okay? But this loop will require n as a parameter of the function. The question was whether we can drop the parameter of the function. Only on one condition. You can drop the parameter provided you know how to use the length property of the array to find the size of an array. Vishal, you are not getting the point. What I am trying to tell you is you are passing an array to a function. Next, we have got an array list operation in which there are 5 types of operation being performed. Okay. One is A, to add an element to an array list. B, to sort the contents of an array list in ascending order. 3C, to reverse the contents of an array list. 4D, to print the size of an array list. 5E, to print the contents of an array list. And F, to sort it in the descending order. Okay. I can use any of this combination. Your job is to write the code for this particular program. So let's try to understand this using one particular test case. What does 1 indicate? 1 indicates that number of test cases is 1. Number of test cases is 1. What does 6 indicates? That there are 6 operations being performed. What does A10 indicates? A means add an element. What does X means? This particular 10 which is added in the array list. What does A20 mean? Add 20 to an array list. What does C mean? Reverse the contents of an array list. What does D indicate? D indicates that you are supposed to print the size of an array list. What does F indicate? Sort the contents in a descending order. What does E indicate? Print the contents of an array list. So this could be any combination. Okay, this is just one of the combination I have taken. Clear? If you look at the next example, we have got A4. Actually it should have been 1. 1 is the number of test cases, 6 are the operation. A4, A6, A7. What will this indicate? This will indicate that you want to add the element 4, 6, 7. What does B indicate? Sort the content. What does C indicate? Reverse the content. What does E indicate? Print the content. Clear? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to provide you the code. You're supposed to write a function which is going to perform a particular task. For example, if you look over here, add to array list is supposed to add the contents of this particular X to this particular array list. See over here, I declared an array list called as A. What is X? X is supposed to add the contents of the element to this particular array list, which is declared over here. What does B indicates? Sort. What does C indicate? Reverse. So if you want, you can drop a function and write the code here itself. Okay. If you want a more methodical method, then what I can do, you can write a different function. You can write a different function. Clear? So first step is, I should be telling you what are the various operations. So let me give you these operations to you along with the test case. And the second part is, kindly write the code. Instead of writing a function, kindly write a code over here which will carry out a particular task. There are 6 operations. So if you take 1 minute per operation, it shouldn't take more than 4 to 5 minutes to complete the code. Okay. So let's see how we can add an element to an array list. It is straightforward code. We use something called as an add method to add the contents to an array list. We want to sort it in the ascending order. It is quite simple. We simply say collection.sort and the name of the array list. I want to reverse the contents. If you want to reverse the contents, what I can do, I can use something called as a collection.reverse. Collection.reverse. Okay, you're not supposed to print it, you're simply supposed to reverse the contents. Then size of an array list. For finding the size of an array list, what we do, we simply use a size function. The next is we want to display it in the reverse order. Yes or no? We just want to sort it in the reverse order. So what I can do, collection.sort, give me the array list and then use reverse order, which you have already done, which you already have done it in the previous example. My last function was to display the contents of the array list. So for that I use a for each loop to display the contents. So I hope you must have completed this. Let's hit the next example. Iterators are used to iterate over the Java collections. Okay, so what is this particular code saying? Let's take 2. 5 is the size of an array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the contents of an array. Let's take 7. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and 70. These are the contents of the array list. The job is to use the iterator method and display the contents of it. We already know how to do it. What we do, we create an iterator, attach it to the array list, and we display the contents of it. We won't be doing this because it is straightforward, but there is one thing you should know. In this particular program, this part is very clear. We accept the data for the test cases. We accept the size in n. We create an array list. We use something called as sc.nextInt to add to accept the data from the keyboard. Array.add to add the contents in the array list. Now we declare an iterator I attached to this particular array list. Your job now is to display the contents of this particular array list. But then it has not to be done in the main program. For that, what I have done, I made a call to the function called as iterator front to back. So your job is to write a code in this particular function. It has received iterator as a parameter. So kindly write a function. I want you to write a function, okay, which will display in that particular function. You are supposed to display the contents using that particular iterator to display the contents of a array list. Kindly do it. Kindly write a function called as iterator front to back, which is going to display the contents of the array list. The function I wanted was something like this. Iterator front to back, parameter should be of the type iterator, return type is void, directly making a call to the function, hence a static, user has next and next function to display the contents of it. The first challenging question is something like this. You have been given an array list ARR of n items. You are also given an integer k. You need to find all the elements in that particular array list that are smaller than k. Quite a straightforward program. 2 is the number of test cases. 6 indicates the size of an array list. 8, 100, 20, 40, 3, 7 are the contents of an array list. 100 is the element. Your job is to find all the elements which are less than k. So the elements which are less than 100 will be 8, 20, 40, 3, 7. The next 5 will indicate the size of an array list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the contents of the array list. The k value is 3. That means you are supposed to display all the elements which are less than k. So the contents are 1 and 2. I hope the question is clear to you. So as usual, I am going to give the part of the code, okay, and you have to complete that particular function. So as usual, we'll start with the test cases, okay. Then what we do, we declare an array list, we declare the size and use that particular size to add the contents in that array list, except the value of k, and then you're supposed to write the function called as get smaller, which is going to return an array list with the set of the elements which specify the following condition. For example, if I enter 100, then it should return an array list with 8, 20, 40, 3, 7. How I know that I should return an array list? If you look at the left hand side, what is my left hand side? My left hand side is nothing but an array list of the type integer. That means you're supposed to write a function called as get smaller, in which the first parameter is an array list, the second is a k, and you're supposed to return an array list satisfying the particular condition. Okay, so kindly complete this particular code. It shouldn't take more than 3 minutes. Function name is get smaller. So what is my function name? Get smaller. What is the parameter it takes? ArrayList. In the first example, it was array. In this case, it is ArrayList. What is K? The criteria, that is the K is the element. You are supposed to return an ArrayList having the all the elements less than K. What you did, you declare an ArrayList. You declared an for loop. In this for loop, what I did, I said if str is less than K, add that content to this particular A. Okay, I use this particular for along with the if to add all the elements which are less than K. And then what I did, I returned A. I returned the A. Yes, Dhruv, it is right. Any other solution? Sushanta, yes. Two solutions I got. The next example. What does it say is that given an array list ARR of n positive integers, the task is to find the maximum for every adjacent pair in the array list. Look at this question carefully. The task is to find the maximum of every adjacent pairs in the array list. What do you mean by this? As usual, one will indicate the number of test cases. Okay, if you want, you can make it as 2. First set is 6 is the size of an array list. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the contents of the array list. If you analyze it, what it says is the task is to find the maximum of every adjacent pair. So for 1, which is the adjacent pair? 2 and 2. So what is the maximum? 2. For this 2, what is the adjacent pair? 2 and 3. What is the maximum? 3. For this particular 2, what is the adjacent pair? 3 and 4. What is the maximum? 4. For this 3, what is the maximum? Maximum is 5. So if you look at the output is 2. For 1 and 2, it will be 2. For 2, it will be 3. For 2, it will be again 3, 4, which is 4. For 3, it will be maximum, which is 5. I hope you get it, right? The last element should be as it is. If you look over here, for the 1, it is 2 and 2. For the 2, it is 2 and 3. So we get it as 3. Yeah. For this 3, what we do? The adjacent pair is 4 and 5. So we get it as 5. Let me write it again. See. For 1, these are the elements 2 and 2. So put the maximum as 2. For the next element 2, it is 2 and 3. So put the maximum as 3. For the next 2, the adjacent elements is 3 and 4. So put it as 4. For 3, maximum is 5. Okay. For 3, the maximum is 5. For 4, what we have? We have the maximum as 5. I hope you get it. Now, this is the complete program you're supposed to write. This is the complete program you're supposed to write along with the test cases. Along with the test cases. If you look at the next case, number of element is 2, contents is 5 and 5. For 5, what are the adjacent elements? Only 5. So we put only the 5 as a output over here. Only 5 as a output. Kindly pay attention. For this example, the adjacent pair should be the next two. For 1, it is 2, 2. So you have to write 2. For this 2, it is 2, 3. So you have to write 3. Yes, I have made a mistake. One moment. For 1, it is 2. For 2, it is 2 and 3, 3. For 2, it is 3 and 4, 4. For 3, it is 4 and 5, 5. Sorry, made a mistake. Have a look at the test case. I'll explain it again. 2 is the number of test cases, 6 is the element. Next, we'll take it as 9, 6, 0, 1, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now for 1, what are the adjacent elements? 4 and 5. So what is the maximum? You should take it as 5. For 4, what is the adjacent element? 5 and 6. What is the maximum? 6. For 5, the adjacent element are 6 and 0. So you should take it as max 6. Okay. So for 6, adjacent element are 0 and 1. So max will be 1. For 0, adjacent element are 1 and 2. So you should take it as 2. For 1, adjacent element is 2 and 3. So you should take it as 3. For 2, the adjacent element is 3 and 9. So you should take it as 9. Clear? No, I have changed it. That's why I said, Akshit, I have changed it. What I said was, I want to find the maximum of the adjacent elements. See, 2 is the number of test cases, 6 is the elements, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a contents of the array. So 1 and 2. For 1, what are the maximum? 2 and 2. So write 2. For 2, the next set of element is 2 and 3. So write 3. For 2, the next pair is 3 and 4. So write 4. Clear? For 3, the maximum is 4 and 5. So write 5. That's it. In the next case, it is 1, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 9. So for 1, the adjacent is 4 and 5. Write 5. For 4, it is 5 and 6. So write 6. For 5, the adjacent is 6 and 0. So write 6. For 6, it is 0 and 1. So write 1. For 0, it is 1 and 2. So write 2. For 1, it is 2 and 3. So write 3. For 2, it is 3 and 9. So write 9. And that's the end of it. So kindly check out how many times the loop should run. You got it, Akshit? You have been given, now it is 12:1. By 12:5 or 12:6, the solution should be ready. Okay, so all of you please pay attention. This document is already uploaded. Okay, this document is already uploaded. Kindly go through it. Clear? In the tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss about the linked list stacks, linked list and stacks. So tomorrow's agenda is linked list and stack. If you want, you can read it. Okay. Along with some coding samples on linked list and stack we'll be doing. So that will be the end of the session. Thank you very much. Again, I'm telling you this particular document is already uploaded. Kindly go through it. Clear?